All right. Hello. Can you guys hear me now? Let's see. Can you guys hear me now? Let me know if you can hear me or not hear me. I'm not seeing anything coming up in terms of the audio. Okay, cool. All right, Devetis, I can hear you. Well, that was a kick in the butt. Absolutely annoying. Here I am just trying to get the best audio quality possible, and this microphone won't let me be great. So I'm just gonna have to go and do a test run. I'm gonna have to do a test run of this microphone on just a random live, I guess, on here because I have no idea of how to make this refocus, please. Mm-mm. Yeah, guys, I gotta say, I freaking hate technology. Doo-doo. Now my webcam. All right, I'm just gonna be blurry. Like it is what it is. Screw it. But anyways, I was trying to get better audio quality by using this microphone that I have, and for some reason, it had the microphone selected, but nobody could hear me. So we're just gonna roll with the good old microphone on the webcam, which is actually horrible quality. I wanted to be able to take the pre-market rundown and splice it up and kind of distribute it out there as bite-sized pieces of information. But we'll have to work on that during some other session because technology did not want to cooperate. And we're going to dive directly into, our daily session, the PMR pre-market rundown, where we go over all the news and major headlines necessary to factor into our trading plan to keep us profitable here on, this crazy day within these crazy markets. So let's dive in. Number one, Credit Suisse's $54 billion lifeline. So Credit Suisse, ticker CS, will borrow as much as 50 billion francs, around $54 billion, from the Swiss National Bank liquidity facility. The troubled Swiss bank also announced public tender offers by Credit Suisse International to repurpose certain OpCo senior debt securities for cash of up to 3 billion francs. The news sent its Swiss shares over 32% higher today in morning trade, while its U.S. listed shares gained 9% before the bell. Now, in terms of backdrop, Credit Suisse shares plunged almost 25% in Switzerland yesterday after the bank's top shareholder, Saudi National Bank Chairman Ammar Al-Qudari, ruled out offering further financial assistance. And on Tuesday, Credit Suisse disclosed a material weakness in its reporting procedures and was developing a remediation plan to address the same. However, it said its 2022 results released last month were not impacted by the material weakness. In terms of market jitters, yesterday's rout pushed Credit Suisse to request a public show of support from the Swiss National Bank and Swiss regulator FINMA. In an effort to calm markets, the Swiss Central Bank and FINMA said Credit Suisse meets capital requirements. The authorities also assured investors that problems of certain U.S. banks do not pose a direct risk of contagion for the Swiss financial markets. I do that in air quotes because it was a quote. So right now we're just kind of in, full-fledged calamity where it's kind of like, the Spider-Man meme where everybody is pointing at each other and it's just like, you're insolvent. You're about to collapse. No, you're about to collapse. And everybody's trying to assure everyone that everything is okay. Everyone's trying to figure out, if things are okay or if they're not okay. And with Credit Suisse, that is something that it was actually announced yesterday before close. So, I said, hey, if you want to take a few flyers on call lottos for Credit Suisse, you can go ahead and do that. Completely speculative, but you can have fun while trading as well. Credit Suisse is said to be up 40% here this morning. I got a notification when I woke up. So we'll see if that's still the same case, right? It could easily have sold right back off. But they were easy, fun little calls. I think we're like, $25 per contract. So we'll see if anything comes of that. But overall, right, it's just this kind of issue of people trying to figure out, is there a banking contagion going on right now? Or is this just some easy coincidence of news that happens to be going on at the same time, right? Is this something that has really infested and festered and grown and spread internationally? Or is this just a bunch of isolated incidents that coincidentally transpired at the same time? That's what everybody's trying to figure out. But as of right now, it's caused, extreme jitters across markets, extreme volatility, right, and extreme lack of comfort when it comes to banks. And really what you're seeing is what you would expect to see: lots of inflows of cash into banks like Citibank and JP Morgan and Chase, right? All of those banks, right, the big guys are seeing a lot of money going in. Why? Because people are done with the small regional banks. They're like, all right, listen, I don't trust you. I need a big behemoth with large cash reserves in order to make sure that my money is okay. So that's really what happens, right? People get fearful, and what happens? The rich get richer. So you've got JP Morgan and all those bank stocks, right, that are getting a lot more clients because people are like, I trust you. You're a big guy. The little guys, I don't know if I can, put my stock in them. So in terms of Seeking Alpha commentary, contributor Darren Bakai said that the bank is not blowing up, but it's often not a scandal that directly causes a collapse. It's the reaction from clients and shareholders causing it. So the stock may gain a bit in the coming days after the recent sell-off, he said. The reality, however, is that the company has built itself a bad financial reputation. And it's tough. It's tough to recover from, a broken reputation. It can take years and years and years to build a reputation up. It only takes one instance to tear it all the way down. So I think Credit Suisse has a lot of, damage control to do. But what's nice is that they immediately found someone to back them in the Swiss National Bank. The tough thing is that, like, what are we just going to have national banks come in and kind of bail out all of these badly managed banks? Right at this point, like there are no repercussions. Carla said your voice is breaking up. It's choppy on my end. This is the worst, guys. This is absolutely the worst. Your voice is breaking up. Well, I mean, to be honest, this just might be one of those days where it just ends up being crusty, right? I don't know how else to change it. I changed my microphone. I don't know why it would be breaking up. I left and came back in, and it's fine. Okay, yeah. So guys, if you have issues with the audio, maybe leave and come back in. It's fine now. Okay, cool. Because man, I mean, this is just barrier after barrier today. I must have some amazing breakthrough coming later in the day because the enemy is working overtime right now to make sure that this information is not conveyed. So we'll keep it moving. I'm glad I checked back in, but we'll keep it moving here. Yeah, so in terms of strategic review, First Republic Bank, ticker FRC, is evaluating strategic options, including a potential sale, which initially sent its stock 4% higher after the bell yesterday. However, the stock has since erased those gains and sank more than 23% before the bell today. The bank, whose shares have plunged 80% in the past week in the wake of the Silicon Valley Bank failure, ticker SIVB, it's also weighing on options to improve its liquidity. The lender is likely to garner takeover interest from larger rivals. Earlier yesterday, S&P cut First Republic Bank's rating to junk on high outflow risk. On the other hand, Seeking Alpha contributor The Asian Investor said the bank is well managed and has a significant deposit base. Thanks for that. Investors can earn significant returns here by leaning into the fear and buying the bloodbath. You are a brave man, Mr. The Asian Investor, which is his screen name. We'll see how that works out for you. Please give us some type of update. New deadline, the FDIC has set tomorrow as the deadline for banks interested in acquiring Silicon Valley Bank or Signature Bank to submit bids. So we've got quick deadlines here. Only bidders that have an existing bank charter will be permitted to take a look at a bank's books before submitting their offer. One condition that has been set is that an acquirer must surrender the bank's cryptocurrency business. Meanwhile, bigger banks appear hesitant to make an offer for SVB. JP Morgan, ticker JPM, and Bank of America, ticker BAC, turned down opportunities to acquire the bank before it was seized last week. SVB is currently conducting a strategic review and is exploring filing for bankruptcy protection. So we got a deadline. This is our newest kind of update in this whole Silicon Valley Signature Bank, regional bank turmoil saga. So we'll see if they end up getting any buyers, anyone to swoop in to save them. If they don't, then, I think that we see this contagion kind of continue as more and more. I think at this point, though, the damage is kind of done. I think all regional banks are kind of getting bank runs on them. Everyone is taking their money to big banks at this point because they don't want to wait around to see if their bank is next. So it's, again, that issue of like, is it the issue that causes it or the fear around the issue that causes the issues? At this point, if I had my money in a small bank, I'm probably moving it as well, right? I'm probably moving it as well. Generally, you have FDIC, as long as you're in an FDIC insured bank, you're good, right? And you don't have more than 250K in one bank. So if you have 250K or less in a bank and it's FDIC insured, your money is protected, right? Even if it does evaporate, you will get paid back. If you have more than 250K in one bank and that bank is not FDIC insured, then yes, you need to move it, right? And that's what it boils down to for us, right? The average person. If you don't have your money in an FDIC insured bank, which you should, right? If you don't, though, this is like the heads up. You want to take that, move it. If it's more than 250K, you want to deposit it, into different, accounts or different banks, right? But there are plenty of large banks for you to go to in order to do that. But overall, make sure that they are FDIC insured, and that your money is protected. But overall, for these small banks, I don't think that, these ones getting bailed out will save the rest of the small banks. So we'll see. We'll see exactly what happens, but everybody can kind of talk and speculate. It's really just news is going to go ahead and play itself out. The only thing that we can do is control what we can control, and that's our position sizes. So how much we're trading, how large are our positions, how are we managing, right? We've been able to escape with 25% profit, 40% profit on a few plays these past few days. That's really all that you want, right? Make a solid trade, get your money, leave. And it's as simple as that. You don't need to overtrade, don't need to do a whole lot. And if it's required, wait until the time, right? No, you're not obligated to trade under any circumstances. I think that's very important to recognize, right? It's like driving. Nobody makes you go out and drive every day just because you have a car. Just because you have the ability to drive every day does not mean that you need to drive every day. It's the same thing with trading, right? People don't go out and say, oh, I need to take my car for a spin because I haven't today. No, there's no reason to. Don't, right? And that advice is account saving advice. In terms of today's markets, looks kind of mixed across the board. In Asia, Japan down 0.8%, Hong Kong down 1.7%, China down 1.1%, India up 0.1%, the FTSE in London up a full percent, Paris up 1.2%, Frankfurt up 0.8%, the Dow down 0.4%, S&P down 0.2%, Nasdaq up 0.2%, crude oil flat at $67.59, gold flat at $19.30, Bitcoin up almost a full percent to 24,869. Today's economic calendar, we got jobless claims at 8:30 a.m. So that's something worth checking out here. If my computer actually wants to, run quickly. I was talking with Vivian before this. She was like, "Are you still doing the pre-market rundown?" I was like, "I am," but unfortunately, my computer is being a jackboot and not letting me get on here as it wants to take the time to randomly update. And I do have my Mac, which is much newer. I'm just a very nostalgic person. I love working on this computer. It was my dad's old computer, and he inspires me. So I feel like if I work on this old computer, I might end up, being half the man he is. So that's why I'm just so emotionally attached to it. But we're humans. We're emotionally attached. It is what it is. To be honest, I just need to update it. I'm one of those people where it says, "Oh, you want to update?" And I click no. I click later, later, later. So it forces me to do it. Let's see here. In terms of initial jobless claims data, we got 192K versus 211K previous. We expected 205K. That's bearish for markets, right? Bearish data for markets. We estimated that there were going to be 205,000 jobless claims. There were actually 192,000. That means less than expected jobless claims, right? And what does that mean? That means bearish ramifications in markets. So we got a little bit, a few drops sprinkled in there in the bucket for the bears with that data that we got this morning. What else is happening? UBS wealth executive believes solvency fears on banks are overdone. Bond market volatility now at dangerous levels, says Societe Generale. B of A, Bank of America, gets over $15 billion in new deposits as trust in small banks weakens, right? And that's something to pay attention to, right? What are the banks the money is flowing into? And if those have sold off, might be a nice spot to invest in those banks, right? Because overall, large banks aren't impacted by this. They have the cash reserves. We've been talking about that over the course of the past few months about how these banks giving their earnings noted that they have large cash reserves and they have it for a reason. And, them saying that, making that well known is coming back, very positive for them here. So Federal Reserve to launch its instant digital payment service, FedNow, in July. Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway boost Oxy stake to 23.1%. So Buffett's still buying oil. Apple supplier Foxconn to make AirPods an Indian plant. We talked about this. They are moving out of China. Everything is moving out of China and into India. India is the new China. Shares of Snap and Meta climb as U.S. threatens TikTok ban. So we've got Snap and Meta continuously being positive recipients of this, negative news around TikTok. The Biden administration pretty much went to TikTok and said, hey, if you guys don't, if ByteDance doesn't sell you and you don't separate from your Chinese parent company, it will be banned here in the U.S. So we'll see what ends up happening, but the Chinese government will still have to sign off on that ban, on that sale. And we know how tough they can be. So we'll see what ends up happening. But overall, Meta looking good. Meta and Microsoft both were strong, right? Showed relative strength yesterday in the face of broader market weakness. Microsoft, off the back of, ChatGPT's fourth iteration being unveiled, which has been absolutely crazy. I'll probably make a reel on that later. But yeah, I kind of want to follow that because it's been amazing to see. Um, but overall, right, Microsoft looking good as a result of that. And you've got Meta and Snap looking good because of TikTok's misfortune. Now, FTX transferred over 3.2 billion to key employees, including Sam Bankman-Fried. Man, this just gets shadier and shadier. Dollar General posts mixed Q4 earnings report, reaffirms 2023 guidance. Biogen, ticker BIIB, gets EU court ruling in favor of blocking Tech Fidera generic entry. So we got the market open in 7 minutes. I'll keep this short. Everybody, you got 1% better. Congratulations just by being here. I'll try and get this mic issue fixed, so that by tomorrow I can use that for this, because I heard the recording actually from here and the mic quality is literally so horrible in this webcam, but it's a webcam, so what do I expect? Anyways, if you got anything valuable from this session, just show love to the account, right? Like the Instagram videos, comment on the Instagram videos, like the YouTube shorts, right? You can go straight from here to my channel and engage with that content, right? That helps me as I continue to come here every morning for the free ski and help you guys. So we're all in this in order to make sure we're closing the gap each and every day. And congratulations on doing that, right? Good luck out there in markets. You don't need luck if you have preparation, right? But still, all the same, the old adage goes, right? Good luck. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you guys back here tomorrow morning for hopefully a less, kind of barricade-filled pre-market rundown session. Have a good one.